The mitochondria are the powerhouse of our cells and ultimately our body. Most think the mitochondria is just some organelle producing more energy for the body. But the energy they produce goes much deeper than most realize. This energy can increase the metabolism, improve insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, enhance fatty tissue activation, and overall protect the body against aging. And most have weak and dysfunctional mitochondria, resulting in poor health.
The mitochondrion is a complex piece of machinery. It takes around 1,500 proteins for mitochondria to function, and problems with many of these can lead to disease.
Do we accept this mediocre way of being? No, and so do many other peptide researchers and experts, which is why the peptide MOTS-C has been getting a lot of traction in the recent years. This unique peptide is produced by the mitochondrial DNA, showing promise in optimizing and enhancing mitochondrial health like never seen before. Is MOTS-C the ultimate mitochondrial peptide? Well, we're about to take a deep dive into MOTS-C, and I'll be sharing all my research and experiments I've done on this peptide since I first learned about it. Before I continue with this video, I must have a disclaimer. I am not a doctor. Any information in this video is purely for educational reasons. I talk about research peptides because myself am a researcher. In no way do I promote the use of research peptides for human or animal use. All my experiments are designed for myself and only me, and are conducted for pure research and does not have correlation to animal or human use. If you do want to use therapeutic peptides, I strongly recommend to work with a licensed physician so you can have the best experience. By agreeing to watch this video, you understand this disclaimer. Thank you, and let's get straight into this video. So what is this peptide? This is MOTS-C, a 10 milligram bottle from Sigma Compounds. And MOTS-C is produced by a gene in the mitochondrial DNA. So literally your mitochondria has DNA, and the DNA produces this peptide. Like, how cool is that? And MOTS-C is often referred to as the exercise-induced peptide within the peptide community, because as you're later going to learn, the mechanism of action is very similar to what happens when the body works out. And this peptide plays a major role in signaling and energy production by regulating multiple metabolic functions in the body. So how does MOTS-C work? MOTS-C is activated either through exercise or stress, and it mainly acts on the A1CAR pathways. I know it sounds a little weird, stay with me. Which then activates the AMPK pathways. And the AMPK pathways plays a major role in regulating cell growth, controlling cell recycling, and metabolism. So because the AMPK pathways controls all these different things, it has a very robust downstream effect because it's regulating growth, the recycling of the body, and the metabolism. So the downstream effect results in enhanced metabolism, improved insulin sensitivity, reducing inflammation, enhancing fatty tissue activation, and overall protecting the body. Which, pause for a moment, all this happens when you work out, which is why working out is so beneficial for you. But pretty much MOTS-C, that is why it's called the exercise-induced peptide. And last thing I'll say on this and how it works is that MOTS-C mostly targets skeletal muscle. And the reason why is because your skeletal muscle has some of the densest population of mitochondria. So here are some research benefits I witnessed and I learned from studying this peptide. First is accelerating weight loss, because this peptide is stimulating exercise on the body. Improving blood sugar levels, which is oftentimes why I've seen MOTS-C used with diabetics. Improving heart health, fighting bone loss, increasing longevity, improving exercise intolerance. So pretty much every single benefit someone would experience from working out. So please work out, but also this peptide's badass too. The most commonly reported side effect I've seen is water retention, which this is what Dr. Seeds referenced in his book, Peptide Protocol Volume 1. When it comes to research dosing, this is what Dr. Seeds referenced in his book, Peptide Protocol Volume 1. He references when first using MOTS-C, 5 milligrams 3 times a week for 4 weeks as a loading phase. After the loading phase, reduce down to 5 milligrams once a week and then take a month off. So 4 weeks of loading, 4 weeks of maintenance, 4 weeks of off. That is what Dr. Siegs recommends. I've seen other experts like Jay Campbell and Ben Greenfield using it as like 1 milligram more every single day or in a different cycle. So it's hard to say the exact cycling and dosing, but overall I would reference Dr. Siegs because that tends to have the most research. So 5 milligrams 3 times a week for 4 weeks, 5 milligrams once a week for 4 weeks, and then off for 4 weeks. So loading, maintenance, off, loading, maintenance, off. Here are some supplements I would take when using MOTS-C. The first one would be a natural diuretic with dandelion root, which is pretty much the same thing. I just stack them together. The reason why is that one commonly reported side effect of MOTS-C is water retention, so I want to reduce that, and this is a pretty commonly reported side effect along with most peptides is water retention. The next one, which I say in every single video, is going to be the masculine medicine, which I believe to be the strongest natural test booster on the market. I take it myself, I made it myself, I love it, and it's just everything a man needs. So, water retention and some kind of natural test booster. Here are some other peptides I would stack with MOTS-C. It's important to note, stacking peptides depends largely on the goal. So if my goal was weight loss or my goal was performance, I would use different peptides. The first 2 peptides I would add to MOTS-C would be a GHRP and some GHRH, so growth hormone releasing peptide like GHRP2, GHRP6, ipamorelin, and then with some type of GHRH like CJC1225 or MOD-GRF or testosterone, because those will help the body create more growth hormone. And I'm just such a big fan of those peptides because growth hormone is the hormone of vitality. So it's beneficial for many different peptide goals and peptide stacks. If I wanted to focus more on weight loss, I would look more into like AOD 9604 or semi-glutide or tirzepatide because MOTS-C does help with the metabolic rate. So I could see how those could be advantageous to adding in more weight loss and fat burning peptides. And the last 2 peptides would be humanin and SS31. The reason why I say these is these are some other mitochondrial peptides. And there are different theories on how effective these other mitochondrial peptides are because MOTS-C, I will say from my experience, my research is most well used and well researched. However though, humanin and SS31, they're not saying they're bad peptides, it's just they're newer. And actually I have videos coming out soon on those peptides, but humanin and SS31 have different ways of acting on the mitochondria. So I'm just a big fan, if you have one main goal, can we promote it in multiple different ways? So now reflecting, what are the pros of MOTS-C? The first pro is I love how it's very natural because this is legit produced by your mitochondrial DNA. So anything that your body produces and it goes with that, I'm a big promoter of that. The second pro is that this is the most commonly used mitochondrial peptide. So anytime I see more subjective and more research experience, it just makes me want to, use it more. There are other mitochondrial peptides out there, but they're still newer. So this is why it's a pro for me. The biggest con of MOTS-C I've seen just from my research and just perspective is pricing differences. Because going off Dr. Siegs' protocol, that could be pretty expensive because it requires a large loading phase. However though, I've seen other researchers do it in different dosings, reducing the cost of MOTS-C. But overall, that is the biggest con I noted. So what is my overall opinion of MOTS-C? This would be my go-to mitochondrial peptide to get started. So as I mentioned, there are other peptides like humanin and SS31 that have some mitochondrial benefits, but they're still newer. So if I wanted to get my feet wet and just play around with it, I would start at MOTS-C and I would go with a lower dosing just for budget reasons and as well to see how I responded. I would play around with different, dosing schemes, like maybe I'll do 3 times a week or every day, just see how I responded. I would most likely want to take this peptide in the morning. And since this peptide is stimulating exercise benefits, I wanted in the morning prevent any sleep disturbances. Last thing I theorized, what if I take this peptide before a workout to start like the workout energy and then actually go into a workout, maybe stacking it with a workout. I don't know, a lot of different research and experiments I still need to explore with this peptide, but overall from my research and my perspective, I think MOTS-C is a powerful mitochondrial peptide. Anyways, I've shared all the information and research I know on MOTS-C so far. It's a learning process. I'm always learning more and experimenting more. Thank you for watching and have an amazing day.